Good afternoon, welcome to Toffee TV, joined by Patrick Ridge in the studio today. Patrick does our M-Tag written arm. He's the editor-in-chief. He's here. Can't help thinking, I was saying this to you, I had a trucker point yesterday before the game. The way it played out, I can't help. I've still got that disappointed feeling, even though they could have won the game as well. Just the two opportunities at the end have left me with that sickly feeling of massive opportunity missed.
Yeah, I think it just again kind of crept up on everybody last night as well. And it's one of the, we always seem to have them where I remember them a lot in the COVID season, the Ancelotti's full season, like where you just get the team sheets and he was playing bloody Gomez up top and Michael Keane at right back or whatever. And you'd think, what's he done here? And somehow they come away with a point, a win. But yeah, I think on reflection, like you do look at the game as a whole, and we've got to say it is we after the second half where Fulham were on top for so long. Like I saw something earlier, like I think Fulham had like 9 corners to none in the 65th to the 80th minute. They were just on top.
No, they were the best team.
And they'd had 10 shots in that time or something, just all the possession. So at that point, it really did look like we were hanging on. But then kind of got a second wind in stoppage time essentially, and. Yeah, 2 massive chances. I think the first one bigger than the second. The second, as awkward as Beto looked and as unorthodox as it was, and Godfrey just swiping and lack of composure. You do see them a lot as well in a lot of games that like the ball doesn't quite fall. But the first one, it's just got to go in, hasn't it? I don't think it's maybe as easy as we're all thinking it is, but he's still a Premier League striker who's 6'4". All he needs to do is direct it on target to goal. So. Yeah, frustrating one. I think on the balance of play, we come away with a point. I think it's compounded, isn't it? You know, if Brighton hadn't decided to to just be absolutely dreadful last night and throw the towel in after 5 minutes, then we'd all probably feel better about the situation. You know, if Brighton had won or if Luton had just got a point, but because obviously Luton, it's kind of flipped to us being back in the bottom 3. But maybe it's focused minds again and made everyone realise, you know, we're still very much in it, aren't we? Unless we can get all the points back, really.
Yeah, I mean, what does the manager do at this stage? Because obviously Dom's not firing. He was marginally better last night, but he's still come away with no goals again. Players like Jack Harrison. I mean, there was a chance after 90 seconds. He's only got it. Dom does brilliant rolls up. He's only got it to target. It's 1-0. He puts it wide. He had another 1 second, have a good run, but he hits it straight at Leno. Ben Godfrey, like we just said, can't put the ball in the net. Tarkowski's missing chances. Like, what more can the coaching staff do with this set of players? It's that we just don't score goals, do we? And when we haven't got the core, it seems like everything else just crumbles. Yeah,
I was saying, weren't we, off air? Like, I think at the start of the season I was a bit dubious about this whole, like, what more can Dyche do? Because it's like, well, surely it's all about you working on those situations that occur in a game. Like, it's just repetition, isn't it? You go it again and again, and maybe that's still a bit of an issue. I do think, like, is it hard to replicate in training how Everton actually create some chances in a game? Like,
yes, and I'll tell you why. Because
so
we don't play with any patterns.
Yeah, there's no patterns of play.
There's no, and this isn't not like having a goal. I don't know, maybe I'm having a goal to manager, I don't know, but just his style isn't conducive to that. It's not like Arsenal, the way they get to the byline and cut. It's not City, the way
even Fulham, like when we saw that,
we saw that
under Silver at Everton, getting to the byline constantly. And I was saying, you know, what we had under, which is where I do sympathise with Dom, is that, you know, like under Ancelotti in that full season, and even we had the quality in players in possession to hold the ball long enough for Luca Dean to get to the byline, for Seamus Coleman to get to the byline and cut it back, and then if you want to go into your percentages of scoring are just higher. You're going to have better chances, and now and not just under Dyche, for the last 2 years, really.
Oh yeah.
It's just been, there's so little cohesion to our Everton attack. What is disappointing is I do think the Jack Harrison chance, for example, where Dom does really well to hold it up and lay it off. I think that is a chance they've worked on in training. That is probably the type of opportunity that I should like to create. So that's different to them, the ones that are just kind of off the cuff and, you know, fall to someone in the 6-yard box and they flash at them. It's a bit of both, but I don't really see what else he can do at this stage other than like constantly just keep working on it and hoping it clicks, and maybe the law of averages says it will, but at the minute we're struggling. It does seem like without Decore to just add maybe Decore, because Decore can miss chances. He misses a lot of them.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
He's not always exactly clinical, but maybe Decore just offers enough threat that defenders can't get across to the other players to put pressure on. They can't. Maybe it just creates enough space for a player to like have the confidence to take a shot on or have the confidence to pick a pass. I don't know at this stage. So yeah, I feel like what really more can the manager do in sense of getting them to finish? He can't kick it in for him, can he? Or can we find a player in the next 48 hours or less that's going to come in and add a bit of composure? But
yeah,
it's doubtful.
No, it is looking doubtful unless they can get someone out. It looks like we're going with what we've got, which is not great in terms of if we do pick injuries up. Dan Zuma's limped off last night. Is he going to be? You just don't know.
He didn't know, did he, Dyson? I think said it was too early. So
you just don't know, do you? You look at it and go, we are losing players game by game. I do struggle to understand how the football club can't come up with a loan fee for someone. I do. I'm sorry, I really do, if that is the case. But if it is, we have to just get on with it, don't we? And other than I said last night on me after match stuff, other than making them stay behind after training, practice on work on the finishing, which maybe they should be doing anyway, every single day. Because repetition, I know it's a different thing in a game, but repetition means that it's just muscle memory. When you get that opportunity, you take it. Because we're underperforming. You said we've missed the most big chances.
Aaron Barton, who works for Opta, he's a Evertonian. I saw he put on Twitter this morning. So we're, I think only Bayern and Barca in Europe's top 5 leagues have missed more big chances, which I think, it's a bit of a woolly term, to be fair, because like, what's a big chance? But I think Opta usually define it as like it's above a certain number of XG on their model. So like you'd reasonably expect someone to score from that position. So Betos would obviously be a big chance. Yeah. So only Barca and Bayern Munich have missed more big chances in Europe's top 5 leagues than Everton this season, which shows that Everton are creating a lot of them by hook or by crook. It doesn't always seem that way, but we are creating a fair number of big opportunities. And then the other one was Everton are like the biggest XG underperformers in Europe's top 5 leagues, which is by 9.85. So scored essentially 10 goals less than they should have done. So yeah, I mean it's the flip side of what it was under Lampard to an extent last season, where we were very much overperforming defensively based on what we should have done, and then underperforming in the sense of we weren't creating any chances going forward. Now it's kind of we're level about level in the defence, and just massively underperforming in the attack, but in terms of finishing, not in terms of actual chance creation. So I am. I've been critical of Dyche. I think yesterday we go back to the team sheet and everything's come out with Dwight McNeil playing in midfield, Ashley Young at right mid, Godfrey at right back. Like we'd have taken a point when we come away from that and think, well, it's a hard-earned point. And I really, with the finishing now, I don't know what more else they can do other than maybe just keep doing what they're doing and hoping it clicks. And maybe it will. Maybe Calvert-Lewin will want to go in off his backside and he'll suddenly go on a scoring streak, or it'll just click for a few games and that's enough to get like a run of 3 or 4 wins together again.
What's really frustrating in it is you keep going back to the 10 points, but you've got to, because Everton have won the 10 points. Just that they'd be 3 points ahead of Fulham at the moment. That's what's really frustrating about this whole thing. The R word would never be anywhere near. Everton wouldn't even be considered
and
for that.
The pressure would be off, wouldn't it? And
exactly.
Maybe everyone wouldn't be snapping at chances.
A bit more relaxed. We'd be chasing Europe because it's not that far away in terms of points. And it has been altered, haven't the playing, the actual playing conditions have been totally altered by this 10 points. It actually starts today, the second appeal, if you like, or the appeal to the second commissions begins today for 3 days. So
Silk's just getting warmed up.
Let's hope he's ready, doing his groin stretches and his hammy stretches and all that, and he's ready to go, because we're gonna need his magic, I think, or certainly just his common sense to look and go, this is nonsense. There is enough holes in this thing to blow it open.
What do you think? The last time I was in here, I remember it was just before the points deduction, and I'd said probably jinxed it. I said, like, what would we have taken? Would we have taken the transfer ban, or would we have taken the... I think I said, like, did I say 3-point deduction? Because honestly, I thought that's the worst we'd get at the time. Like, since the case has come to light and all the details of it and reading it all, it is like there's holes in both sides. Everton's defence wasn't great. Like, it wasn't. But, I think, and as well, it's been, like, reported that the Silk's taken over completely. I think what it is he's a commercial litigation specialist, like, and they didn't have that initially. They had sports lawyers, and they've still got sports lawyers on now. Forest, is it Nick DeMarco? He's a sports lawyer. And the irony is he was, not even this time last year. He was in, May of last year. He was the one representing Forest, Leeds
to
sue Everton against the independent commission that then handed Everton 10 points. And it just shows how incestuous it all is. Well,
it's hilarious because now teams will be suing Forest.
Yeah, exactly.
So he's, exactly. Because they
play both sides, and I think what Everton went on is they went with a sports lawyer essentially, and these are still people that are clearly very, very good at what they do, but maybe they're, in hindsight, and clearly they are on this side, they're focusing much more on the commercial aspects of it, and it's all about the accounting practice and everything like that. So what would you say would be like a good, what would you be happy with coming back, like if you had to take something now?
All 10.
Yeah.
I right the way along, I didn't think I've said it, and people pull me up on it. I mean, what the fuck do I know? Do you know what I mean? But I didn't think we'd get a points deduction. The worst I thought we'd get is a suspended points, which is ironic now because we're in for the second charge and we'd be getting them anyway. I thought the worst we'd get is 6 points suspended. That's what I thought the worst case scenario. If it had been a transfer ban, we'd have took that, wouldn't we, for a year?
In January. I think that's...
if they'd give us it, the original one...
It'd have been January.
It'd have been January to January. You go, okay, we've got what we have.
Yeah.
We'll have to just literally get through 4 months of the season next season.
Yeah. And there could have been some pre-planning in terms of, like, you'd have to probably offer Ashley Young another contract.
You'd have to just...
It'd have to be done.
But that's management, isn't it? Yeah. That's literally management.
Maybe would have been going to Leeds, we're going to have to give you 20 million for Jack Harrison. It's, like,
could we have done that, though?
They probably could have done if they could have come to an agreement within the loan itself. Like if there was any trigger, I don't know if there is. There was some different reports, wasn't there?
We'll make it permanent now,
exactly,
so to speak. But even if we couldn't, and Harrison went back, and we lost a couple, it's up to the manager and Ian Wong, Steve Stone, to get Stanley Mills ready for being on the bench and to get Tyler on Young and whoever, and fans might go, oh, wow, whatever, but that's management.
You'd have had to muddle through, wouldn't you?
He could have played 3 at the back and pieced it together that way. We'd have just had to go with it, and then you would have said to O'Neill and Branthwaite, you're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Either of you. You can't sell yet until January. You're both under contract. We don't care unless someone comes in and goes £100 million and you have to go, we can't do it. But we'd have had to think box clever and go in January. You can go out the door. But without any of them points, we'd have been mid-table. You might have been going, we actually might get into Europe. Yeah, which would be a pot of money that we weren't expecting. So again, it boosts it. Or even, I'm not saying we would have done. I just mean we were in the discussion for it, weren't we? And we certainly still would be at the moment with so many games left to play. I'm not saying we deserve to be, of course, but that's just points, isn't it? That's what happens. How West Ham got in the first week and went on the money. But had it been that at that time, we'd all be a bit calm and okay, we might be going, well, next season. But it's a case of getting through 4 months, isn't it? It's literally 4 months of football and then you can buy. Everton then would have had a pot of money from the summer. The takeover would have either been done or fucked off. We'd had new people in and that probably would have been done. So who knows, in 12 months' time.
It's all, like, this is the entire...
We might have been in a better position.
Yeah, and again with opposition fans like that are so... And fair enough, we'd maybe be in the same boat with it as well to an extent if we weren't so knowledgeable about the situation in terms of what's been going on.
Especially when they've been told lies.
Exactly.
Because they have.
Exactly. And and this constant narrative and spin of like it's all about the transfer dealings now. It is narrative and it is spin, but it's also, I guess, the Premier League using the Independent Commission's judgment that they couldn't, that they decided on, I think unfairly, they couldn't deem that Everton hadn't spent that money on the players, even though we all know they didn't. Like it's like, you know, how they inferred that there is a sporting advantage just because they used a case of Sheffield Wednesday versus the EFL. That's what they said, but they say it numerous times. They say, we decided that there must be a sporting advantage because in this case that the EFL used, that we're using as our precedent, there was a sporting advantage. Now, what they did say
but
is...
They caveat that.
They say we don't... They said we don't think Everton deliberately set out to achieve a sporting advantage, but essentially... So it's... Like, the analogy I'd use is, like, you don't deliberately mean to stand offside. You're still offside. But it's like we've been given a red card for being offside.
All right, let me just...
In that.
Let's have a look at that then. So with that, and that's fine. But if you actually get the player in and out, which is the real sporting advantage, Everton perform better than anybody. I've got a thing here on my phone.
The net spend.
The third bottom.
Exactly.
The positive PSR for 5 years. The best performer for 3 years. So there is no. If I was sat with Richard Masters, I'd say that categorically is zero sporting advantage, mate. The reason why we're here is because come and have a look at this big fuck off. Pardon my French. Big stadium that's come out the ground and that costs money, mate. And now someone could. I'll be honest. I was having a chat with. Jim Carragher last night about it, and going, but what about the wages? Everton's wages are high, but everybody else's. Liverpool pay more than double Everton's wages in the same competition, in the same league. What are we supposed to do? Now, Everton did cock it up, and that is the thing that's killed us. And I can't really defend Everton on some, even though I've just said, what are we supposed to do? I can't defend paying certain players 120 grand a week, who... me and Ped have said this many times. If you come in, we try to get you in and you're a hotshot goal scorer, and I go, Pat, we'll give you 50 grand a week, but you know, if you get 15 league goals this season, we'll give you a bump next season. And if you get 20 goals next season, we'll bounce you up because you're performing. Like, I had no issue with Romelu Lukaku if Everton would have gone the next time when they tried to get him to sign a new deal, 200 grand a week. I had no issue with it, because what it should have been was, well, we don't sign another player. That extra 100 grand a week, and that we would have paid X over there, we're giving it to Rom because he delivers 20 goals every year. You go, I've got no issue with Jordan Pickford being Everton's highest earner. He's England's goalkeeper, plays every week for us. He's got the most clean sheets in the Premier League, whatever. But what I mean by that is he's been here for 7 years now, isn't it? This is his 7th year. He's performed most... Is he amazing? No, but he's performed and delivered time and time again. I had no issue with Dom getting his bumped up as the goals were coming. It's the players like Andre Gomez, who we were desperate just to get. So Mashiri was like, give him 120 grand a week. Yerry Mina had played. I love Yerry. Absolutely love him. The lad had played 5 months at Barca, well, 4 months, and not many games at Barca.
110 grand a week, was it? Something like that?
To get him in.
Yeah. And look what he's on Fiorentina now, probably not even half of that.
Ready to bin him. He's going to Port. Well, there's some of them going to Port.
And the irony is when he's actually played, even in that, he's had his injury troubles. When he's played, he's actually played well.
Probably because he does. He's a really good defender.
Again, they'll be ready to move him on. So
we spoke about Cenk Tosun yesterday. Now, I mean, as Pep pointed out, and he's right, we were very unlucky with the Cenk Tosun stuff.
He got two.
Palace was agreed 20 million. He got 2 knee injuries that scuppered 2 separate deals. He would have gone. But they're the things that have killed us, haven't they?
Just going back to the wages conversation, like if you had that with Jamie Carragher, like if Everton had have got that Lukaku deal done in 2017, I know we're going back 6.5 years now. And
better times though, Pat. We won games.
Two home games. They'd have said 250 grand a week for Lukaku, but for the next 2 seasons, he kept up his scoring rate, which I can't imagine why he wouldn't have done. So let's say he scores at least 20 goals over the next 2 seasons in the league. That gets Everton into Europe more than likely,
of course,
at least once, if not twice. Then by the time you're coming round to the 2019, when the breach started to occur, that breach doesn't happen because Everton have got that pot of money. So in fact, paying that better player higher wages means you avoid the breach. That's kind of the whole. That's the warp, like how it's warped. That's how it works.
It's how Liverpool have got.
Yeah, you've got to speculate to accumulate.
Liverpool have done unbelievably, really. I don't like saying it, but you have to give credit where credit's due to stay with Man City. haven't they? They've done unbelievable because they have spent money. There is a myth that Liverpool don't spend money. They have spent money.
But they've also used their name to sell high as well.
So they've gone and done well.
Academy players to sell for big fees.
But they've kept the good players. They've got the good players and they give them better contract. But the good players have delivered. So they've been able to negotiate PSR. Imagine if Salah had played for Everton, right? Come in when they got him from Roma. Because he only went for 38 million. Everton could have easily paid a fee like that. Yeah, I'll play for Everton. He come in and he got 25. I know we got more for Liverpool, but say he come in 21 goals in his first season, 25 in the second. He'd be gone, wouldn't he? Because someone would go, we want him. 80 million. Everton would go, there you go.
Yeah.
Now, what Liverpool had was he took them up another level. They had a great manager, but they were going to stave off anybody coming in like there's to 200 grand a week now. They're trying to give him, but they give him another big contract to keep him. That's what you do, but you do that on delivery. Yeah. Whereas Everton's biggest fuck up in all of this was there was no delivery. Gylfi Sigurdsson was the biggest one. Yeah. And ironically, that's cost us in this bleeding case because he was about to go out the door for 9 million quid, whatever it was. But that's the biggest case. No one was bidding. After 25 million, Leicester went out, all right, we'll go for that Maddison kid who will pay a third of the wages to and half the fee. Yeah. And we went, we'll keep going. Moving forward, that is how we will recover from this, isn't it? By just going.
And it's how we have done, like you mentioned it there. That's what we're doing already. Yeah. And unfortunately,
I just mean to get better, like a better version of this. Though. That's what I mean.
Keep on doing it, and the frustration is it's just come at a time when that side of the club I think it's not just getting itself in order. I think it probably is in order now. It's just that, and if there was any money available, they would be going out and doing those kind of deals like well, they have done with Onana. And that's the annoying thing about this breach again is like, well, what were Everton meant to do? Everton are trying to be profitable and sustainable. They had to spend some money in 2022 because they just stayed up and sold the best player because they had to. In Richarlison. Needed a midfield. Like, Mashiri was obviously totally misguided in when he gave his initial statement to the commission in October. But also there was truth in him saying, well, we needed a midfield. Like, it is true. There is that sense of, and this is, and I know John's mentioned it, when you've got lawyers and accountants looking at it in black and white, and the numbers look bad, and it's like there's a line, and they're just seeing if someone's crossed a line or not. They're not taking into the sporting side of it being, this is still a team that's having to compete in the, if not the best league in the world, the most competitive league in the world in terms of intensity, in terms of teams having money to go out and like pluck the best players from other leagues, which ironically that entire thing across Europe, across down the football pyramid in England now is now stopping because of the PSR rules. Like, look, there's no what's going to happen to the AFL clubs that are relying on Premier League clubs spending money if all Premier League clubs suddenly stop spending money? Like, these rules are damaging everything else as well. What's happening to leagues in Europe that are relying on the Premier League to spend big money on their players?
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, just back to that thing of like, it balancing, I think this is maybe what Everton's case will be, is like they've still had to balance being competitive in this league with trying to get everything right. And they're showing that in the last few years, they've managed to do that somehow by hook or by crook. And even now they're doing it with a 10-point deduction that, you know, even now they've only just gone back into the bottom three yesterday. And it's not like they lost; they drew. They picked up a good point on the road, and they've gone back into the bottom three. And like they're still being competitive, even with all
unbeaten in the Premier League this year, Pat.
Yeah, well, yeah.
We haven't conceded a goal in the Premier League this year. I mean, we haven't scored one, but we haven't conceded either.
Point a game. 16 points might keep us up, but it just like so. You know, they all know a lot more than you or I, definitely than I about it. These commercial specialists, and let's hope they can do it. It's just It's maybe they'll be arguing on why the commission decided to use that Sheffield Wednesday precedent. And the irony is that if they're sticking to that precedent, then Sheffield Wednesday got half the points back on appeal. So maybe that's the precedent they have to use as well. Maybe there is definitely holes. You know, I read that report several times and thought, even I can see that there's holes in this judgment here, as much as I can think that I think some of Everton's defences or mitigations were a bit like kind of not to, a bit desperate. Some of the things they came up with. Ironically, the Player X one with Michael Keane was or Player Y, sorry, was that. But it was Michael Keane. I think we all know that. That was, to me, was the most desperate attempt, saying, oh, well, we took him off the list because Bill Kenwright was dealing with it and everything, and then, we were going to sell him, but then we decided to give him a new contract on a higher wage and everything like in 2020. But ironically, I thought that was desperate. That's the one that the commission accepted Everton's thing on. They were like, well, you took him off the list. That totally makes sense. And then you gave him a contract to protect his value. They accepted that. The Premier League lost the argument on that one, whereas I think we have a much stronger case about the war in Ukraine. Yeah, the commission threw it out. So, well, this, like they took it in, they judged it, and they decided in the Premier League's favour. So, yeah, like let's just see what happens. And I was saying to Ned earlier, I guess we'll find out. I'd imagine they'll do it on a Friday again to bury the news amid a load of games. But I think probably the 16th or 23rd.
Do you think they'll get anything back?
I think we might get 4 to 6 points. That's my
So we'll be left.
10.
We'll be left with 4.
I'd love 10, but my then worry with getting that back is. I think I mean, if I were Everton, I'd be
Everton got 6
and asking them to pay for this lawyer as well.
If Everton got 6 points back,
it sets a precedent for a second charge as well.
But if Everton got, my understanding of, they get 6 points back, it's because they've accepted that the payments they've accepted, and if they accept, then the second charge goes away.
Well,
and you've also, the final bit is that you've also got people who look at the finances better than me. I'll be honest, I ain't got a clue. I just see it and go, I'm not interested. The football side of it is all I'm interested in. Yeah. But financial experts looking at it have said there's no way Everton could have failed PSR, so I don't know. Yeah, they're unsure what the Premier League is.
Again, I've read through.
But we don't know what numbers it is.
No, I read through the thing last week again, and it's just like that Everton. Everton. It all depends, and we'll find out in a few weeks what Everton are arguing this appeal. Are they still arguing that? Because Everton say they were only 7 million over, or 7.5 million. The Premier League said, no, you're 19.5 million. And the Commission found in favour of the Premier League.
But they give us 10 points, but they shouldn't. They should have only given us 9 by their formula.
Well, they disregarded it.
They disregarded, but the same
so I'm saying, what are Everton arguing? Are Everton go? We just don't know. Are Everton going to go back and argue? No, we're only 7.5 million over, and here's the proof. If they accept that, then does that make all the points go away? Because it means, well, okay, they're not that far in breach, or does it make 8 of the points go away? They're only 2 points over. This is however they're going to work it out. Then that. In theory, in at least my understanding of it, very basic, that would make the second charge go away because the calculations will all change then.
Yeah,
and that's what Everton seemed to hint at, didn't they?
Well, they've redone the books, haven't they?
Yeah, they're saying
whatever it's called.
They're saying but they did it on the basis that when they put their charge in for 22-23, it was that Everton said, we're based on the Premier League's working out, which at the moment stands, we're over. Because, they're saying it's 19.5 million for 21-22, so we're still over in this cycle. So that would it seemed to suggest to me that Everton are going to go back and argue, no, we're only this far over, and then if we win that argument, in this appeal, that should make the second charge go away because the books will all be reset then. We can go on our version of the books.
Of course, yeah, of course.
But then, so again, my basic understanding, my confusion is okay, what if there's an acceptance of the Commission of some mitigating factors, but they still say, well, we still think you're 19.5 million over, but we do accept that there's mitigation here. So we'll give you 6 points back for that.
Well, if we got 6 points back, we'd be 14th.
Yeah, but does that then change for the second charge? In my mind, that wouldn't change that Everton are still 19.5 million over. The Commission have just said, but there are mitigating factors, so we'll give you some points back for that.
So then
then on the books,
go on.
We're still over, so we'll have to.
I don't see any way though. Even if Everton have to keep the 10 points, say they don't give us any points back, I don't see any way in this universe where Everton get more points.
No, I
think the double jeopardy thing will come in. I just don't see it.
They'll probably be able to argue,
but we probably get hit with something else. Obviously, we would.
Also to say something, but we could then say, well, we're still being punished, even though we've got some points back. We're still being punished. We're still being done for this charge. So. Like I said, if I were Everton, I'd have gone to Forest and say, you're going to pay for half of this lawyer as well because, if we win this is going to help you.
See, I don't like the points off it, and even I've said it before, even if it benefits Everton with Forest, and it would with Forest getting points taken off, I just think it's nonsense.
It's just frustrating, isn't it? Like that we still, again, it must be hugely frustrating for the players and the manager that we're still, and everyone involved really, that we're in January now. We're going to be halfway through February, and we still don't know what points, and for other teams as well.
What?
Like, look at Luton on this.
Oh,
great
well, that's
run
it.
at the minute.
Yeah.
Suddenly they could go from being out of the bottom three
to being back
to
in.
being 10 points behind us.
And they should.
And they'll be
They should, because
they should be. Of course, they
are
should
10
be,
points.
but it changes perception for everyone, doesn't
What do you think of, obviously, Everton? We've got 16 games to play now. We have, haven't we?
I was trying not to look at the table, but I think it's 16.
That was 16 games left, obviously. Burnley go to City tonight. You'd expect City. Well, City have got to. Liverpool are flying, so City have got to keep winning games. We know Luton have got a game in hand, but I still fancy Bournemouth to beat them at Bournemouth. So 16 matches left. But if you're Everton and you're looking at that in terms of how can we strengthen, because there's less than 2 days left now, isn't it? So, well, less than, what is it?
Day and a half. Yeah,
Day and a half, really, now, yeah. Off the transfer window. Is someone like Ismail Sarr a player that you think... apparently he's available on loan. Everton have been linked with him twice this week. It could be a lazy link, but if there was something to be done with that one, do you think he's the sort of player that could really give Everton a lift in this second half of the season? Because for me, I think he can play right, left, through the middle, and he can also play off the front man. Yeah. So 3 positions, 4 really, for a loan. He's got that turn of pace, but he is hit and miss. So, I mean, what are you thinking?
I covered the Senegal game the other night, and he actually played quite well. And
where did he play there?
Right wing.
He
played. When I saw him at the World Cup a few times, he played right wing. He had some good. He's weird, Sal. Like, he's just one of those players that were always linked with one.
Yeah.
He did actually. Was it this time last? Was it the 22 window?
Yeah, tried to get him.
Yeah. But had to chuck in like 25 million offer. But what they did with Udinese.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
No English club were going to take that, but
really they should have, because
they ended up going.
They ended up being
needing it anyway. He is a good. He's not quite hit the same heights I thought he would have done. Like his first season at Watford, and then his first season when they went into the Championship before they then came back up in 2019, would it have been, or 2020? Sorry, 2021. Then they came back up. He was really good, and he actually in the Championship played as part of the front two. But he's definitely better on the right. He's one of the. He can play left, but he's one of those wingers. He's a bit like, in the sense of McNeil.
Yeah.
In theory, you think a left-footed player should be good at cutting in on from the right, but in practice, he's a lot better on his proper stronger side. I think Sarr's a bit like that, but a different type of player. He's more about pace. I think in a Dyche system, he could get in behind quite well as well. He's got a bit of strength about him. Like He would be another one. He wouldn't maybe solve the erratic nature of our attacking line, but he would give us another option, because I think, Jack Harrison obviously has been brought in to play on the right, but his best games for Leeds always came on the left. And it's actually like, the irony is we brought him in totally to be the right midfielder, and he's doing a decent job at it. And it's like our only one right midfield option isn't really a right midfielder either. No. So if we can get a proper right winger in, like Sarr, if there's a loan deal there to be done, it's like, would Marseille... The rumours is that Marseille would actually want the money now, or they'd want an obligation, would it? And it's like, can Everton really afford that? We've got Beto to pay for in the summer, or start paying for. They're going to have Chamiti, I imagine, as well. But maybe they're going to... This is what they've got to weigh up, hasn't it? And this is what I want them to do. They've got to weigh up the gamble again. And I do feel like Everton... Almost, it's really hard, but I do almost sometimes feel like they go into windows not having planned. Like they knew there was going to be no money. Like what was the best case scenario is 777 was done, and they had some money, but they weren't exactly going to be able to chuck in 50 million. I don't think there was no, maybe there'd have been a bit of money available, but like surely they'd have been planning for 4 months based on the fact that there is no money. But maybe what's thrown everybody off and thrown everyone at Everton off as well is maybe they were thinking, well, in September, they were thinking, right, we've got these targets for January, we'll have a look, see what we can do, but it's going to rely on other clubs, the domino effect. But because of the 10-point deduction and because of the PSR regulations, Premier League being brought into force, no one's spending. So there's no domino effect. Like, we're waiting on West Ham, aren't we? If West Ham could get... If they're going to sell Benrahma, they might go and be able to get Jota or another winger in. Yeah. And maybe that would have freed up Everton to go and get Cornet, but it looks like they're going to have to keep Cornet because they're selling 2 wingers, West Ham. So it's like you're waiting on other clubs at the bottom of the food chain. And because no other clubs are spending, ironically because of Everton's situation, and everyone's kind of scared by that, then it's left us with nothing. So you've just got to hope that they can do something, and that maybe they think it's worth taking that gamble on.
Because I guess I'd always say this, but I think it is worth taking the gamble because I just look and think, the minute the Corey goes out, we just go to pot.
But again, like, this is why, like, the appeal being heard now after at the end of the window, like. Again, like, and maybe Everton were pushing, but it should have been at the very latest. It should have been like the decision should have been 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, definitely.
Because you've got the window then to know what you need to do.
Absolutely,
it's a totally different situation if Everton are mid-table. We're all saying now, look, we're still mid-table. We can get by to the summer. We'll be fine. We've got 10 points. We need another 6 or 7 points, and we're safe. And we can do that without. Now, I'd be like you. I'd still want players in, but we can do it without it. Now we're like, do we need one? Are we going to get our 10 points back in 2 weeks after we've spent 3 million on a loan fee for someone?
Do you not feel like we need one?
No, I do, but it's all short term at the minute, isn't it?
No,
that's what we've got.
I think that's what we have to be, though, Pat,
so
to be honest.
It's that thing. I feel like we absolutely feel like we need 2 really, 3 in an ideal world. So we need a centre back, but it's that thing of like, if we were mid-table right now, we'd want one. Yeah. But would we feel we need
the desperation probably wouldn't be as big, would it?
Whereas where we are right now, we all feel a bit desperate because we're at bare bones and we're now back in the bottom 3. Like,
that's what I mean. But that's how much.
About perception.
That's how much it's changed. Though we've had playing under these conditions. You see, I just wonder. I don't know whether you feel any different, but I just wonder if they wouldn't have taken the points at the time, if they would have said, you've got the appeal, our decision is this, you've now got the appeal, if you lose the appeal,
you'll get 10 points.
The 10 points are gone. I just wonder, it might know where, we might have less points now, we might have whatever, but I just wonder where we would be right now because the game perceptions for all of those other games, there was, take the United game, which is still a shock on results for me. That game was just all about emotion because everyone was angry and the game just went away from us. Yeah. And then we were playing with fear and okay, we won 4 games on the run and it dragged us out of it, great. But then other games we've played with fear, City at home, Spurs away, Villa. It's like, oh my God, here we go again. Now listen, we've had all right results, I suppose. I mean, City were always going to beat us. Wolves, we were terrible in, no complaints, they battered us. Spurs, we were robbed really, weren't we? We should have got something out that game. Villa, couldn't make an argument that Everton should have won the game, but we did have a great chance with Dom. We had the best chance, and obviously Dukes had the goal.
And a bit like last night.
And last night, that's it.
We still had the best chance.
But I still look at it and go, we still need that, just that extra little play. And that's why I brought up Sarr, because he is someone who can do the both. I remember him playing almost through the middle against Liverpool. Remember, Liverpool hadn't lost the game all season. He beat them 3-0, he got 2. And he ran through and just dinked it over Alisson twice. And it's like that little bit, and I know that's the exception rather than the rule with him. He's more likely to bend one in the top corner than not score for 6 months. But I just think if we could grab something like that, I think it'd give everybody, I think it'd give fans a lift. And
it'd be an option in a position that we need. Yeah. Like, he's versatile, and it could even maybe allow us, I know you could then think, well, you're getting Sarr in, okay, there's some loan interest in Chimiti, which there is. We can actually almost pay for a bit of the loan fee by sending Chimiti out on loan for a development loan, which is what he needs.
If 777 would have been in the door, then who knows, you know. We might have loaned Chimiti, been able to just loan him to Standard League. I mean, we still could, I guess, if we wanted to, but that kind of thing. But moving on.
You can't without a player in, that's the point.
No, that's it. Well, we couldn't, could we?
Frees up the other,
you couldn't let him go out the door and then go, oh, we've got an injury to Dom. I'm better. And then all of a sudden, people are going, because we haven't even got Tom Cannon in the 21s now, have we? Or Sims.
Because we had to get money in for him,
Exactly. Ben Godfrey, where do you stand on that one? There has been some interest in him. I know Atletico Madrid were mentioned yesterday, and I thought he played very well last night for Everton. One great recovery tackle. Yeah, he should be doing that as a defender, but it was still a very important interception. He should have scored at the end. But I thought he was solid last night and played quite well. But what would you do with him? Because he seems to be the only one who is attracting any kind of interest.
Yeah, I think that because about a loan deal would have to be a sizable loan.
I wouldn't loan him.
And I wouldn't be loaning him now.
No.
Maybe we would have done 2 weeks ago, because that could have allowed us to go and get a player or two in, even on loan, if we could have got a 4 million loan fee, for example, but it's not going to happen now. anything would have to be permanent. But I actually think he's a defender the one defender that we've got, central defender, who allows us to be a bit more versatile as well. In the sense of, whenever we play a back three, I don't know why he didn't play at Wolves in the back three. Like, I just went back to Keane and moved Tarkowski out of it instead of it just being, because the one position he really suits Godfrey is a right centre back in a three, isn't it? Or like he played last night, and he hasn't normally played well at right back, but his job was literally just man mark.
He's a defensive right back, isn't he? He's not
or left. Yeah,
he can steam forward, but his final ball's terrible, isn't it? As we saw near the end, this cross,
But I mean, I'd maybe be actively looking to see if we can get anything for Nathan Patterson at the minute, because look, to
sell him.
If we could sell him, I would do right
really,
now. And
yeah.
look, I don't dislike Patterson, but I just think, again, spending 12 million on a lad with 16 appearances in Scotland at the time, it baffled me. I feel sorry for him because he's been dropped in and out, maybe through no fault of his own. He's had bad injuries. But if we're short-term thinking, I don't think anyone's going to come in and buy him in the next 2 days. But if someone maybe from the Championship was going to come in and offer a loan right now, if you're making me pick between Patterson and Godfrey, and I don't want this to just be like reactionary to last night, but with Young back, with Coleman kind of back, and we know Godfrey could maybe do a better defence. Like, is Dyche now going to use Patterson or Godfrey more as a right back if Godfrey stays? Who do you think is going to be Dyche's go-to right back if we need to defend? Because he clearly doesn't trust Patterson to do it. So if a club was going to come in and say we want to take Nathan Patterson on loan for 6 months,
get on loan might help us.
He might help him, might help us,
and help him,
and might get the thing. So that's where I am at the minute. It's like, if we're not going to get a permanent offer for Godfrey, like, and what would we want? 15 million, maybe 10 to 15. Can we find a way to get someone else out that maybe we can think, look, Godfrey's played now. Whenever he's played this season in the Premier League, he's played well. Yeah. He's made some big tackles for some big moments. Saved 2 goals really in the 2 games he's played. Yeah. And Dyche doesn't trust Patterson. It's quite clear. Like, he does. No. I think if we'd have had a right midfield option yesterday, Young would have probably played right back. So maybe we could look at. Are they looking at all these deals? Like, who can we get out to maybe benefit them and benefit us? It's the same going back to the start. Yeah. Like, if we got a versatile forward option in, does that allow us to send Chimity out on loan? And everyone benefits for 6 months because we can get a bit of money in, pays for the other loan deal, and gets him development. So hopefully they're looking at all this. But I think on Godfrey, I'd keep him unless probably a 15 million offer comes in, and then you've got to look at it. But does that do us any favours at 10 o'clock tomorrow night?
See.
And I don't think Atletico Madrid are going to come in for him.
No, but there was a few who were mentioned with them, weren't there? And you're right.
He'd definitely do well in Italy, I think.
I seen someone saying, it was a weak source, but it was someone saying that Michael Keane is one Everton are prepared to let go.
The both of them, yeah.
So we'll see, won't we?
Well, that was L'Equipe saying like that Everton, which is all a bit mad that Everton would have let Danjuma go to Lyon if they could have had a centre back from Lyon.
Oh, Brian, yeah.
Which would have made sense if they were willing to let a centre back go, but I don't expect anything to happen.
No,
we live in hope.
You'd be fuming over you with Dyche. I would be.
Oh yeah, but I think
I know he knows. I know he's not one to do that, and I know he knows the situation. But you would be saying, "Listen, you're gonna have to come up with something. If it's something, it's for 6 months. Even if you agree to frigging sell."
I'll be on the phone to Fellwell every hour.
To sell someone before the 30th
That's what I mean.
June.
It's like if someone has to go before June, if it means that Onana has to go. I mean, we've now said this every year, haven't we? The last 2 years as well. It's like, we'll just sell someone by the end of June, and then you get the situation that clubs know that you need to sell by the end of June as well, and it shortchanges you.
Well, you just sell someone else, though. You just sell a lower level player.
Well, that's what I mean.
It's only covering.
Yeah, again, with someone like Patterson or something, it's like time to make your mind up.
Or Godfrey.
Yeah, or Godfrey.
You just go, listen, 12 months left on his deal. We'll take 8 million for him. Yeah. Someone would go, and that's stupid because he should. I'm seeing Championship players going for £23 million. Adam Wharton, I know he's a good player, but 23 million. So for Godfrey, who's played for England, he should be getting 15 million for him. But with less than 18 months left, you're probably not getting that. But that's what you have to do, don't you? You have to look for.
They have to be decisive. That's I still don't. Even there's been a lot of improvements. I think there's been some examples of it, especially with the likes of Sims and Cannon. It's like we need to make a judgment call now. Unfortunately,
he wanted to keep Cannon. He didn't want to keep Sims, but he wanted to keep Cannon.
Yeah, and I think maybe they need to they're probably going to have to just do that again. And I still think there's a bit of indecisiveness with certain players, and it comes from like not loaning younger players out early enough. Literally until James Bourne came in 18 months ago now, and started to change that. So just needs to be, if we can get anything done, and if that means taking a hit. I'm thinking, well, Dyche doesn't trust Nathan Patterson anyway. Ben Godfrey's kind of proved he can play a role. Do we take the hit on that and get some money in on
only on a loan? Yeah, because I still think he can be developed.
No, I do, but I think
right
2
now,
years in, he needs that, doesn't he? And
this needs to play every week, doesn't he? That's the thing. Not so purple-acky says, is there a conspiracy against Everton? The evidence would suggest yes, but why would it be us?
I just think that I personally, I think the whole thing is sowing, and this from the Richard Masters and Alison Britton and everything right down to PGMOL. For me, and I could appreciate other people do, I just think it's pure incompetence. Like the PSR regs and everything like that, I think they were put in place 10 years ago, and because they're being put in place by a group that never thought they'd be used, when it's come to using them, they've kind of gone from 0 to 60 in 5 seconds, like Andy Burnham said in the chat with Ped. Like, they never really used them before. Now they're going whole hog at it, and they've realised they're not fit for purpose because they never thought anyone would break them. But people have broken, and that doesn't necessarily mean it's corrupt. It just means that it's like almost incompetent. But then when that sense of you're feeling everything's against you comes in, is when the Premier League are, and I point this out, like I asked Martin Ziegler, I'm still waiting for a response, is like, if the Premier League are so obsessed with being open and transparent, why are they never publicly writing back to any of these bodies that have written? Why are they not replying to Andy Burnham in public?
Yeah.
Why are they not replying to the letter that was leaked to the Times yesterday in public? Will they reply to the DCMS response in public? Now, they had no obligation. Richard Masters had no obligation to reply to Andy Burnham in terms of in terms of he should have done, but in terms of answering the questions that Andy Burnham asked, as he said in the interview. At the end of the day, he wasn't doing that as Mayor of Manchester, was he? He was doing it as a private. He was doing it as a citizen. Essentially, he was doing it as an Evertonian, which he said in his initial letter. The DCMS is a different kettle of fish. Like, they will have to respond, but again, I doubt they respond through public channels.
He won't do it until after this.
Well, the DCMS gave the deadline of 8 Feb because they have to give 2 weeks. They have to.
Mad. Joe says personally they are against Everton because of the noise over the Super League. Yeah, probably. Mark says, afternoon lads, just want to vent. Been wondering what the pissing point of us playing games anymore is. It's becoming more and more obvious the deck is stacked against us smaller clubs. It's pathetic now. Premier League, little Dicky and the Sly Six can do one. Just so sick of it. The only benefit of being a Toffee is in this channel and knowing I'm not alone. Yeah, I mean, the penalty last night.
Oh, you haven't mentioned that, have we?
You know, we'll mention it obviously on the final word, but you do just go, what's the point, really? Adam says, sick to death of these refereeing decisions now. I've noticed they check and clear our penalty shouts within seconds, but whenever it's against us, they make themselves a brew and get all the boys round to find a way to rule against us. Yeah, I agree. Steve Kelly says, all right, lads, hope you both well. Decent points. Thought Ben Godfrey done really well last night, and credit to him as he's been out the side. But the 2 games he's come in, he's played very well. Yeah, he has. Fair play to him. James says, last 2 seasons we'd have lost last night. I mean, we drew 0-0 there last season when I was there, but 28 points this stage of the season isn't as bad as people are making out. I think we'll get our 10 points back, and it'll be between Forest and Luton who go down.
I see so much of this after every game, like, one way or the other with like people who always defend Dyche, which fair enough, whatever, but they'll go on after a good result or a half decent result and be like, oh, I can't believe I've seen people slagging him off. Oh, I've not seen anyone slagging him off. And then on the flip side, when after a bad result, people come out and be like, can't believe I see all these people defending Dyche. I'm like, I've not actually seen anyone defend Dyche. I don't know if it's just the circles that you operate in or anything like that, but yeah, I think like they said there, like 28 points, to have earned 28 points at this stage in the season is commendable for everybody. But, and we all are frustrated because points deduction aside, we could have had a lot more, couldn't we? If not for mistakes from players and manager, and that's just what it is. But yeah, it's definitely commendable. PSR
stands for Profit and Sustainability Rules, Ian. Just asking there. Yes. People asking for Michael Keane up front. Not sure. David says, good morning, gents. Pickers deserve so much credit from the press, and Beto has to finish that. And if Robinson had made the ball redirect towards the goal with his hand, there has to be a penalty. Our clean sheet record is good, but we got to bulge the onion bag. Also agree with Ped. Harrison being able to use both feet makes him our best Decore replacement. James has never understood why we don't get to the byline as much. Such an easy goal to score, and defenders are terrified for low crosses in there. Yeah. Bill says a point is a point with the team we had out. Just frustrating we can't take our chances and the refs don't give us a thing. Still think we need a player or two in, but doesn't look likely. James says the transfer ban is a registration ban. Harrison is registered as an Everton player, so we could still buy him with a transfer ban. Chelsea did it when they had their ban, but can't remember the player though. We'd have to buy him, I think, by the 30th of June, then, wouldn't we? Yeah. Because he's still registered till the 30th of June.
The issue with Harrison is Leeds will just still got 30 million. Got him under contract for
Someone said it's 15 million, unless they get promoted.
Yeah, exactly.
So if they don't get promoted...
In that situation, the haters already, they're probably they're in a position of power. That's the issue, isn't it? It's like They want
Ben Godfrey, though. They're desperate for Ben Godfrey.
Well, go Ben Godfrey
in the summer. And Ben Godfrey and 5 million in the summer for Harrison. Garrett says, in this season alone, against Fulham, our XG is 5.2 with 0 goals. Massive issue is right there.
Yeah, and in fairness, I haven't had a look at it fully yet, but like, you've got to think that better chance will be such high XG yesterday. Like,
middle of the goal with no goal.
Fulham, in that sense, Fulham will have had the better of it. I think we had a higher XG. We ended up with a higher one because literally that's how much of a difference one chance like that can make.
Absolutely.
But yeah, he's right. It's totally frustrating. Plus the League Cup game with the chance that we
of course. Yeah. Bill Cummins says, best league in the world, worst refs and the most inequality, the most shambolic organisation, and says the stadium wasn't taken into account once in that first alleged independent commission. No, well, apparently a big thing that comes out of the ground doesn't count. And Steve P says, Fab Romano just posted PSG are actively looking to get Hugo Ekitike a loan. Surely we should be looking to bring him in. He's only on low wages and can play 3 positions. Well, we wanted him in the summer, didn't we?
Again, it's one of those things like, I don't think he's maybe that versatile from what I've seen. He could maybe do a job out wide, but I don't think he's necessarily going to do the dirty work that I should want. But it'd be one of them, like if Chimiti went out again, you'd maybe look at it. But then you're borrowing from Peter to pay Paul, aren't you?
Yeah, absolutely. Right, that's us done. Ped and Patrick are going to do more than a game in 5 minutes or so. Wake Ped up. So there you go. The link there. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, stay where you're at. These two will be taking you through for half an hour at 2 o'clock on all the latest stuff. We'll go to our football expert on drive. Yeah, towards drive time in a bit. Right, see you in a bit. Bye.